and welcome to Pet Pals. Every week we showcase animals that are looking for forever homes through the Frederick County Division of Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. I'm Linda Shea, Division Director. With me is Randy Cooper, our long-term volunteer and animal wrangler for Pet Pals. We're glad you could join us today. First dog we're going to take a look at is Katie. She is about 2 years old and she is a beautiful, beautiful hound mix. She's got that lovely bicolor red and white combination. She's a little more red on her rump than would be normally. She is allergic to flea bites. So we have her on a couple of different antibiotics. That is easily remedied by just keeping her on a flea preventative. And those are available through your veterinarian. And of course, when you adopt a pet, you want to make sure that you have a veterinarian on board, that you have a conversation about the best care possible for your pet. Preventatives go a long way to minimizing reactions to fleas. They can minimize a lot of the other medical conditions that can occur if your pet's not on preventatives, such as vaccines, such as dewormers, and such as topicals for flea bite prevention. Katie is a hound mix. She's very reliable in temperament. She's about 73 pounds, which is kind of deceptive. She's a little thicker looking to me than 73 pounds, but good body condition overall. Prior to leaving here, she will be spayed. She's already microchipped, and she was turned in. The family that had her acquired her from a friend when she was a puppy, and this is something that we see fairly often in the shelter. When dogs get to be about 18 months to 2 years old, the puppy novelty has worn off. The folks in the family that have promised to take care of the puppy are no longer interested, and 18 months to 2 years old is a common time frame for dogs, especially to be turned in, or again, the family becomes less enamored and they're ready to just part with their canine companion. So Katie is here now. Her family members have said that they believe she needs more room, more space, and truly we've seen over time that she might need something to do because she's a hound, but as far as needing a bigger yard or bigger space, that's just a matter of managing that. She can be taken to a dog park, she can be walked on leash, she can just play games in the house if you need to. A lot of times dogs, given a choice, would rather be with you than anywhere else, so just give that consideration. But this is Katie, 2 years old, hound mix, available for adoption. This little girl is undeniably adorable. This is Sandy. She is about 10 months old, and she was purchased, it seems like, as a gift for a family member, and then that family member just didn't want her. And you know, puppies are a lot of work. People don't realize they are absolutely adorable. I've probably never met a puppy I didn't think was cute or didn't like, but there's a lot of work involved. So before getting a live animal as a gift for anybody, make sure you have a conversation with that person and make sure that you both understand the responsibility and the commitment that's involved in acquiring a live being as a pet. But Sandy's with us now. She is just under 8 pounds. We've brought her up to speed on vaccines. As with all of our dogs, we have tested her for heartworm, Lyme, Ehrlichia, and Anaplasma, and she's negative on all of those things. We do recommend a retest on those things in 6 months, as it can take heartworm 6 months to develop. So while she's tested negative now, with an influx of mosquitoes, we want to make sure that she stays healthy. So we often recommend that to all of our dog adopters. We do have her recommended for a home with older children or adults only. And while that is a recommendation, she's a little scared around new people, around unfamiliar faces. We witnessed that here when she was new to us. Now she's comfortable with staff and volunteers because she's been in our system. She's had a consistent care schedule since she's been here, and she's been here since June the 9th, so not terribly long. But that's the primary reason we've got her recommended for older children and adult home only. Oftentimes, and we see this every day, and even with some adults, with kids, there's often an enthusiasm with animals. They want to pull ears, they want to pull tails. They just don't understand that can become annoying even to the most tolerant animals. So parents, if you are bringing your kids to visit or considering a pet, you want to make sure that you have a handle on the kids' behavior to the best of your ability. We understand kids are going to be kids, so we're not passing judgment, but our obligation is to place animals safely for everybody. You wouldn't want to bring Sandy into a family that is just overwhelmed with enthusiasm and then end up with her biting someone and then being returned for that reason. So there's a puppy process involved, especially with dogs this age. But this is Sandy, little tiny Chihuahua, looking for a forever home. This little girl we named Waffle. And we were teasing. Somebody must have been hungry when they were naming her. Anytime that we get strays or owned animals without names, we pick the names randomly. Oftentimes staff and volunteers contribute to that list of names. But little Waffle here is about 6 to 7 months old. She is, of course, a beagle, tricolor. And the two things about beagles that you need to know is that they are scent hounds. They will follow their nose miles to find an exciting squirrel or bunny that might be on the other side of the neighborhood. They also have a very melodious type of a bark. We refer to it as baying. And sometimes that will occur at 2 or 3 in the morning when there's some random plastic bag flying through the backyard. So those are the two things about beagles. They have a tendency to run away if you're not supervising them, and they will sing to you without notice. And I find it endearing. I'm not so sure most people find it endearing at 2 or 3 in the morning. So two things to consider prior to getting a beagle on board. Other than that, beagles are reliable in temperament. They are one of the best family dogs that I would recommend because they are consistent in temperament, reliable, very tolerant to some extent. Of course, you still need to supervise. It doesn't mean that you would leave Waffle alone with your 18-month-old and just go shopping. You'd have to supervise to make sure that your child wasn't pulling ears or tails. But overall, beagles make, I think, great family pets. Their coats, because they are hunting dogs, tend to be a little more oily, so they might need a little more frequent bathing than other breeds. They still need brushing, and they still need good vet care, so you want to make sure that you have a vet in your family, coordinating with your family when you're adopting any pet, regardless of breed or species. But Waffle came to us because the person that was breeding beagles, just the mama dog had too many. They were unable to place 3 of them, so we have 3 extra beagles at the shelter. But again, this is Waffle, very reliable in temperament. We brought her up to speed on vaccines. She's already microchipped. Prior to leaving here, she will be spayed, and her adoption fee will be $150 because she's a puppy, and there's a puppy process. So we take up to 4 applications. Our goal in doing that is to avoid puppies from coming back to us when they are 2 years old and the puppy excitement has worn off. This little girl is Crepe. She is sister to Waffle. So Crepe is also 6 to 7 months old, was a product of breeding of beagles that they had too many. The mom had too many puppies, so that's how these girls ended up at the shelter. So again, we have 3. We have Waffle, Crepe, and Pancake is the boy. But Crepe is probably the most shy of all 3 of the dogs, and this is what she prefers to do. She likes to be held. She likes to sit on laps. She's fairly non-reactive, so a good placement for her would be with someone who has dog experience, somebody who can build her confidence and not provide too much of a shock as far as an environment. So we also have her under, because of her age, what we call our puppy process. And our puppy process, again, is designed not to make things difficult for adopters, but to reinforce the commitment that you need to make to adopt a puppy. So many times puppies are adopted or purchased or gotten from different sources, and people just no longer want them anymore after a certain amount of time, or don't recognize the work that goes into socializing a puppy and house training a puppy. Crepe, Pancake, and Waffle are not house trained yet. They are 6 to 7 months old, so they need some work on that. They'll need somebody who is very patient. The other thing about introducing any dog into your home, regardless of age, You want to look at your environment and figure out how tolerant you are. If you've got carpeting, if you've got furniture that the animals are going to be exposed to, how tolerant are you of having fur on your furniture, having puppies chew on your couch, or worse. So you want to make sure you give those things some thought. As cute and adorable and as well behaved as Crepe may seem at the moment, there's a lot of work that needs to go into this puppy. So we encourage you, if you do have dog experience, if you have beagle experience, if you have a plan in mind about how you would instill some confidence in this little girl, we would love to talk with you. So she's available for adoption now, and again, this is Crepe. So probably the first thing that strikes you about Victoria is her ears. We love her ears. We love all of this dog, but her ears are just so distinctive. We named her Victoria. She was actually found as a stray just around the corner from the shelter, Victoria Square. So we have had her for just about a month now. She's about 2 to 3 years old. We've got her down as a pit bull mix. Looking at her body structure and her coloring, I'd say there's some recessive boxer in there somewhere. She's got that beautiful reverse brindle color to her. But good personality, good temperament. We've gone ahead and spayed her. She's microchipped. She's about 47 pounds, so she is a little on the compact side of bully breeds, and she's got a great personality. She was found with a red collar. We've now exchanged it for the bright pink striped collar that she has on now. But there was no ID, no tags, no microchip. So one of the things that we do for all animals that leave our shelter, they are microchipped, whether it is a return to owner, whether they are adopted from us. All dogs and cats that leave our shelter are microchipped, and that makes for a quicker return to owner in the future in case an animal gets away from their owner. We have some folks that question, why do you do that? Why do you do that without our permission? Actually, it is a county ordinance, and it was established in 2006 that any animals that leave here would be microchipped. And there's a bunch of reasons for having a microchip in your pet. Primarily, it proves identification and ownership. If your pet gets lost, ends up at a shelter, and you need to identify it, if there's a dispute over who owns that pet, the microchip registration will identify that. If an animal shows up at a shelter or a humane society or a vet's office and they have a microchip, we're more likely to be able to return that pet to their owner more quickly. Additionally, if a pet comes in as a stray and it's microchipped, and even if the microchip is not registered properly, it can give us just a flag that somebody had this animal microchipped. Even though they didn't register it properly, they are in all likelihood looking for this pet. So it offers a couple of extra days in pursuing an owner. So those are the reasons behind microchipping. We do have microchip clinics a couple of times a year. Other places around the other animal advocacy organizations have microchip clinics through the year as well. So we encourage you, if you have a dog, cat, or other pet, to consider having it microchipped. But Victoria came to us as a stray. She is now looking for a forever home. Great little girl. And she's, again, about 2 to 3 years old, so not terribly old. Mature, and she comes with those great ears. So we're looking forward to placing her with a good family. We are going to go ahead and take a short break. When we come back, we've got some really lovely cats that we're going to take a look at on Pet Pals.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Seniors stay active and engaged in the community while making new friends by participating in events at Frederick County Senior Centers. Each of the 4 centers provide a variety of educational, health, fitness, and recreational activities, as well as resources to help area seniors maintain their wellness and independence. Nutritious congregate meals are offered daily for contributions of up to $5, and limited transportation services are provided for seniors 60 and older. Advanced registration is required for both of these services. Contact your local senior center for specific information about the programs and services offered in your area.
Using transit has never been easier for smartphone users with the launch of the Transit EasyFare mobile ticketing app. Simply download the free application onto your Apple or Android device and you'll have everything you need to plan your next ride right in the palm of your hand. Purchase passes quickly and securely, discover the right route, bus numbers, and departure times for your next ride using the Plan Your Trip feature, and stay informed about scheduling changes and other agency news by visiting Transit's Twitter feed. Plus, with visual validation, your phone never has to leave your hand. To learn more about how the Transit EasyFare app can work for you, visit frederickcountymd.gov/transit or call 301-600-2065. Keep track of what's going on in the County Executive's office by visiting frederickcountymd.gov/Gardner. Here you'll find the office's latest news, Jan Gardner's weekly public schedule, meeting information, and much more.
Welcome back to Pet Pals. Now we've got 5 of our feline friends that we're going to take a look at, looking to be adopted from our shelter. First kitty we're going to take a look at is this handsome guy. This is Ramstein. He is about 8 years old, and he has actually been in the shelter system since March. So for about 3 months, he came in at a little over 16 pounds. His owner had passed away. So that's how he ended up at the shelter. We recognized he was overweight, so we put him into foster care, and for the last 3 months that's where he's been, and he is down to 12.5 pounds. So that's been a great success, putting him into foster care to limit his food intake, to monitor his food intake, to monitor his overall health, and to kind of reduce his stress from being in his family and then put into a shelter not knowing what's going on. So he's kind of reestablished his confidence. He's about 8 years old, so he qualifies for a senior pet discount of $20 off his normal adoption fee. The regular adoption fees for cats is $97.50. That covers getting them spayed, neutered, microchipped, rabies vaccinated, county licensed, and everything else they need while they're with us. So he would be only $77.50 for his adoption fee. But again, this is Ramstein. He's about 8 years old, definitely deserving of a second chance in a good home. This little girl is Haley. Haley is actually returned to shelter. She was adopted about 8 years ago when she was a kitten, and now she is 8 years old, and the family or someone in the family has developed allergies. So she has been returned to the shelter. She is already spayed. She is current on vaccines. She did develop an upper respiratory infection. We have resolved that with antibiotics, and as you can tell, she's happily purring away. I'm not sure if the mic can pick it up or not, but she is definitely has a well-running motor in her. She is about 11 pounds, so on the larger side, but great cat, great personality. She's color-coded orange. And if you're unfamiliar with our color coding system, typically blue are the lap cats, green are the kittens that haven't really established manners quite yet, and then orange are the cats that are somewhere in the middle. So we encourage you to ask questions if you come and visit with us. We also encourage you to come and visit some of our older pets. They just make the best pets. As you can tell, Haley is comfortable sitting in Randy's lap. She's already established in her personality and her likes or dislikes. She did live with one other kitten. She lived with little kids, so she's had a well-rounded experience thus far in life, and we're looking forward to placing her for at least the next 8 years of her life. This handsome fella is named Snuffles. Snuffles is about 3 years old, and he is all for declawed. So we don't advocate declawing. Cats are born with their claws. When you declaw them, you're not only taking off their nail, you're actually amputating that last digit on their paws, which they walk on. So he has all 4 of those gone. So if you're looking for an already declawed cat, Snuffles would be a good choice. Snuffles was turned into the shelter, unfortunately, because the toddler in the family was afraid of him. According to the owner, Snuffles didn't like the toddler. So again, parents out there, if you've got pets in your family and you've got small children, you have an obligation to both, and you've got an obligation to do the best you can to make the relationship work out. You've made a choice to have kids, you've made a choice to introduce pets into your family, and both are deserving of mutual respect of one another, and that can only be facilitated by an adult in the family. But Snuffles is here now with us. He is, again, about 3 years old. He's already neutered, current on vaccines. When he first got to the shelter, he had a little bit difficulty adjusting and was not eating well, so we provided him some palliative care. We've given him some medication to stimulate his appetite, so he is back on board with eating on his own and getting a good quality diet. And then we're also monitoring his weight. He is a little over 9 pounds, so he's at a good weight now, and somewhat deceptive for all of that fur. But one thing that we've noticed about Snuffles is that he is long hair and does not do a great job at grooming himself. So if you know your way around a brush, that would be most welcome if you end up adopting him, because it looks like he could use some assistance. Not all cats groom themselves, especially if they're healthy and feeling well, but sometimes the long hair can get to be too much. So while they're beautiful to look at, they sometimes need assistance in managing that beautiful coat. But this is Snuffles, about 3 years old. If you know your way around a brush and you're interested in a long-haired cat, he'd be a good choice. So this handsome little fellow was a stray. We named him Harry. He is a domestic medium hair. He was found on Patrick Street in Frederick, and the finder thought he had an injury when he first arrived. He didn't, but we are an open admission shelter, so coming in as a stray, of course, we took him in and we've provided him all the preventatives that he needs as far as vaccines, as far as dewormers. And the reason that we do that, we do have established protocols. They've been sanctioned by our shelter veterinarian and the other local veterinarians that we work with. On any given day, especially through the summer, we have about 180 to 200 animals in our building. That's a lot of animals when you think about it. So to reduce the risk of disease transmission, we provide newcomers to our shelter with preventative vaccines if it's safe to do that. With cats, it's a distemper or an FVRCP combination vaccine and deworming. And with dogs, we have a distemper combination and also a Bordetella as a preventative for kennel cough vaccine, along with your regular dewormer. We do that to protect the newcomer. You're introducing a new animal into our population, so we provide them preventatives to help ensure that they don't get sick. There's no other reason for doing that other than animal health. And of course, some of the diseases that animals have can transmit to humans, so we want to protect our staff, volunteers, and visitors as well. So that's why our protocols are in place. If an animal arrives here and we don't have an established vaccine history, if they arrive as a stray and we are unaware of who their owner is at the time, the best practice is to vaccinate animals as soon as possible so that that vaccination can take effect as soon as possible. So this little guy again is Harry. We named him that. He's about 2 to 3 years old and originated from Patrick Street in Frederick. The last kitty we're going to take a look at is this beautiful girl. Believe it or not, she showed up as a stray, so we're not quite sure what the background story on that is. She was found near Ballinger Creek, in an apartment complex near Ballinger Creek. At large, a citizen brought her to us, so if you're missing a cat, you want to make sure that you check at the shelter. Regardless of where you live in the county, we're the only county shelter, so we've had this little kitty since June 15th. We've gone ahead and we've named her Giovanna. We've provided everything that she needs as far as vaccines. All of our cats are tested for feline leukemia and feline immunodeficiency virus, and she's tested negative for both of those things. That's important to know if you are going to introduce her into another cat. We have gone ahead and microchipped her, and looks like she had some mats on the way in as well. So we've gone ahead and clipped her. So if her coat looks uneven, that's from us kind of getting rid of the mats and the knots that were causing her discomfort. We have her categorized as a ragamuffin. Ragamuffins are sort of a variety of ragdoll cats, and ragamuffins typically have wonderful, loving personalities. So I'm guessing that's why we categorized her in that manner. But she's got a gorgeous coat. We've estimated her age to be between 5 and 6 years old, so instead of the regular $97.50 for cats, she will be $77.50 for her adoption fee. That will cover getting her spayed, registering her microchip, all the vaccines and preventatives that she's been provided since she's gotten here. And again, she's gorgeous. She seems to be very comfortable, very happy on Randy's lap. If you are interested in a lap cat like this, she is another breed that you might have to help her out with her coat a little bit. Just run your brush through a couple of times a week or so, or when you've noticed that she's getting matted or uncomfortable. Nothing worse than having mats and burrs that you can't get rid of yourself. So even though cats groom themselves, you want to make sure that you recognize if you have a long-haired cat or medium-haired cat that you're providing them some assistance if they need that. But Giovanna is available for adoption on our adoption floor. Again, her adoption fee would be $77.50, and that covers quite a lot. So she's gorgeous, she's friendly, and she is needing a forever family. And that wraps it up for this week's Pet Pals. Thanks for joining us. If you've seen any animals here today that you're interested in adopting, or if you have friends that are interested in adopting, make sure you stop by the shelter or call us for more information. Have a great week, and we will see you next time on Pet Pals.